that's the thing about being in the spotlight is that there's a lot of great agents that deserve to be in the spotlight, but Jimmy Mocci, of all people, really deserves the spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio with Signature Studios, and we are here with a very special guest, Mr. Jimmy Mocci and Susan Ebert. Yay! Jimmy, welcome to the spotlight, man.
Thanks for having me, John. Thanks for having me, Susan.
You're on the light, baby. You in the light.
I'm in the light.
That's the thing. There's a lot of lights in the studio, and it makes me look really shiny, and it makes you look good. So I think it's a good balance.
It makes me really hot.
I love it. AC's on. We're feeling good.
I feel the cool air blowing.
Okay.
It feels good.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
So, Susan,
Yes,
you
dear.
have one of the best brokerages in all of the Valley. You have some of the top agents, and this man sitting right next to you is one of them.
Yes, he is.
How did you meet this fine young man?
Oh, my gosh. How did I meet you? Who introduced us?
Nobody really. I think I just came. I know Shelby, Justin McCabe. I was just kind of lurking. I had broken up with my other broker.
You broke up or dumped?
I got a little bit of both.
A
A little bit of both. You know,
Lovers quarrel?
I made a comment. He didn't like the comment I made, so kind of got dumped. I left him, he left me, and then I knew I needed to find a brokerage. So I always had Signature on the radar. You know, I was like, well, I can always go just be a Signature, you know? And
Yep.
that's what I did. So I was like, well, this is a perfect opportunity to go join the brokerage that I want to join.
What
so
was
I
your
drove
first-
over here and I signed the paperwork.
When you meet Susan for the first time, she's very energetic. Well, she's energetic every time.
Yes.
But what was your first impression of Susan Ebert?
Do you remember?
Crazy. She was crazy. You were crazy, Susan.
Oops.
Like, when I meet you, I was like, this lady's off her rocker, but she cares. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, she's crazy, but she cares. And that was what I was looking for, is a broker who had cared more about her agents than their own deals. So more of a non-operating broker. My previous broker was fully in the business himself, just for himself. And then when he had extra time, it was delegated to us.
Sure.
But it was very rare. So I needed a broker that was kind of there to support me versus me supporting their expenses. I wanted to support the broker's expense, you know.
That's
So
awesome.
I think that's where I wanted to make the moves. I need a little more support.
When did you come over here to Signature Realty?
The end of 2017, right around September, October time frame.
And when we did the numbers, it was how much money he was going to save. And we're looking at each other and we're like, do you remember that?
Somewhere
And
around
you're
like 62,000
Yes.
was what it was going to cost, and I was going to save around like 44,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 44, 45,000, I
Yeah.
believe it was.
It makes me happy
it
to
was
make a
significant.
difference like that.
And that's what renting an office, you know. So it definitely was a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know. Good stuff.
And so I've heard rumors through the office that you are actually the arch nemesis of another agent who was actually on the spotlight last week, Miss Renee Keeling.
Oh.
And so if
She
you guys
was-
were NASCAR drivers, you guys would be swapping paint all the
So
time.
she's pretty much, she came before me, but that was only because I couldn't make it. So let's just
that
make
clear.
that clear now and get it on tape for the record. Renee is absolutely amazing agent. I had ran into her in the field in early 2017. I had a listing out in Winchester. She called me up and pretty much was like, tell me exactly what I need to do to get this offer accepted. My clients want the house. Don't play around. So I've never
Renee.
had,
Right?
you know, and I never had an agent be so direct. And from that point on, after I did accept her offer, my sellers loved their offer, I strived to be more like her, and I constructed my offers like her, and I didn't even know her. She was just a lady on a sign, really, you know, like a lady through the phone. I didn't know if she was 70. I didn't know if she was 20. I didn't know if she sold 10 homes or she sold 100.
Yeah.
I just knew that whatever she was doing motivated me to do better, and I didn't even know her, you know. So time had passed, and then me and my broker were having kind of a bumpy little hill. I started making some more money So I realized how much money I was giving him, and I was getting nothing back for it, or not as much. I take that back. I was getting stuff back, but not as much as I should have been for the cost of what it was costing me, right? So I talked to Renee. Renee kept telling me to come over. Then I came over here, and it just so happened Renee was here. She never told. I never knew she was at Signature. I just knew she was not with my brokerage. Then when I came here, she ended up being down the hall. And then she came down and said hello, introduced herself, and from there, I think it was just history in the making.
Yeah.
Where we knew that we're both two big powerhouses that are going to be at each other's throats. And then I came over here, and she just pushed me and just kept pushing me. So
We
I
had an
just
office
to
meeting
fight
this
back.
morning, and you guys were jabbing at each other.
That's the way
It doesn't matter what I sat down in my chair first. No, I was sitting down first. I mean, you guys are competitive about everything.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Anything, anywhere, anytime. Obviously, she has the looks, right? We can't compete there. But we can compete, and it's a friendly, healthy competition. A lot of people see it from the outside and don't realize the work that it takes to put together that kind of friendship, right? There's a lot of support. There's a lot of late night phone calls where she's stressed out or I'm stressed out or we're going through a bad deal and we're trying to make it work and trying to explore different options of the transaction to make it work.
Right.
So it's a lot that goes into it. And then when we get in front of people, obviously it's like a show, but we're serious about being competitive with each other.
That's fun.
And he is a really good problem solver.
Problem solver.
Yes.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So he's the problem solver. She's the enforcer.
Uh-huh. Well, I actually call him something else because I have pet names for just about everyone.
All right, so what's his pet name? I'm dying to hear this one.
I don't know. I
You
have
can
to
say
call him Jimmy the Mafia Mocci.
The Mafia.
That's what she calls me. It's okay. It's okay.
It's just because his accent and he sounds like it.
I can wear it.
Yeah.
I wear it. I
Yeah.
own it. And yeah, that's what it is. That's what the relationship is. It's a healthy, competitive relationship.
Yeah.
Her husband knows about it. My wife knows about it. And they're constantly making fun of us about each other.
Yeah.
They'll be like, hey, take it easy. Like, we want to do stuff, and they're not working because they're not going to the river because they're trying to beat you,
Right.
So it's just a fun, healthy relationship, and everyone gets a kick out of it. Anyone who sees it thinks it's the funniest thing in the world, and it's fun.
Well, and that is, I think, a great testament to a great brokerage that you've established here is that you have a lot of powerhouses here. You have a lot of big names in this brokerage under this roof. And oftentimes in other brokerages, it could be very competitive in a negative way. But this is very much a synergistic way where everybody's trying to help each other and improve each other. And that really kind of starts from the top down. So
I feel like I built a building, and if you build it, they will come. And it's been built so organically, and just good people continue to come. And when good people get together, they do great things. So I'm not going to take credit for this in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to give it to all these guys because it's not me doing that, it's them.
yeah.
And so I love having the environment where they feel free to do that.
Yeah, I'd have to, just to beat off of her a little bit, it's very true. There's not one top producer in real estate that has secrets. There's no secrets to the business. So the agents that hold their cards close and they don't want to share what they do, they're not really doing anything. They're just thinking they're doing something that no one else is doing. When we get together on these top producer panels or even just an office meeting and we start bouncing ideas off each other, we're bouncing it off with the people who we work with because they're not our competition. They're our fellow peer co-workers, and I didn't understand that concept till I got here. So I tell everybody who asks me exactly what I do, 100%, because I learned that here that it's okay. They're not your competition. They're your friends. They're your fellow realtors. They're people who are trying to make a decent living. And if you could help them, then help them because in turn you're going to get that give back. And that's the kind of environment she had introduced me to, and now after a year I feel it. I feel the fruits of my labor of putting out all this great info. I'm actually getting a lot of great feedback back. I get Facebook messages, I get Instagrams from agents in the office. Hey, thank you for putting that out there. Thank you for this, and this helped me get here. I didn't know that at the time, but it's helping people. So the more you help people, the more I think good karma comes back for you. And that's the environment she brought us into.
You've planted a lot of good seeds, and now you're bearing the fruit of that, and that is so true because, like I was saying, other brokerages, they could be very competitive, and everybody's doing the whole, cards close to the vest kind of thing, and there's just no synergy. But, I'm sure you've been in this situation where you've helped somebody, and then 6 months later, guess what? They have the listing this time, and then you can call them up, whether it's Renee or whoever it might be, and there's already that relationship and that positive back and forth. That's available to you.
Absolutely. That's the way it goes. The more hands you shake, the more you get your hand shaked, and that's the way I've been. And when I submit offers on homes, I get them accepted, and it's not because mine's the best offer. It's because they know me and they know my work ethic, and we're going to get it done together because I told them how I do it. Yeah. They don't think that I'm hired, I have a shady buyer. I tell them where my buyers come from. I tell them how I qualify my buyer. So when I do make an offer on their listing, they know that my buyer's serious, I'm serious, and we're going to get it done. And I think that helps a lot.
It's huge,
I think, though, also the heart of this man is huge, and specializing with the VA and making sure that they are taken care of, the generosity and how you conduct your business is so much character and integrity.
Thank you.
And you circle and surround yourself with such great people that help motivate and go that direction. But I like that part because you love people.
Huh? Yeah, I do.
But I love
people.
the VA. What do you do? How did you get into that?
I don't know. The old broker that I was with basically made me go through my phone and call every one of my contacts. And he said, if you weren't going to call one, if you're not going to call whoever you don't call, delete from your phone because they're not your friend. Because you obviously don't think they want to hear from you. So I did. I went through. I only had maybe 130 contacts at the time. And I went through and I called. And it just so happened 95 of them were military. Mm-hmm. So I started just calling. And then I was like, well, how can I help these guys if I don't even know what to help them with? Because studying for the real estate exam doesn't tell you how to work with VA buyers. Right. So I put everything I had into finding some of the best VA lenders around the country, not even necessarily trying to do business with them, but picking their brain. Like these guys, there was a guy down in San Diego, I cannot recall his name for the life of me. I just called him up and I said, hey man, I noticed you're on military.com advertising. I had no idea how it worked. I have some questions. And I just asked them the questions, what are they looking for in appraisal? What exactly are they looking for? I know what the textbook says, but what are they looking for? Okay. What does a VA buyer need to qualify? How can we get them qualified for more money in an event they don't get qualified for enough? Different ways, just basically putting the puzzle together. Mm-hmm. I spent so much time on that. He had really liked me, and he gave me like a list of like 140 numbers, mortgage leads that he paid for. And he's like, just call these people. If you want someone to call them, because I had done the phone book, my phone, and I was done. So I called them. They were all over California, and they were just mortgage leads. So I just called them. Maybe like 12 answered, and they were asking me about the VA process. So I just kept teaching them, and they never used me. I didn't even think about sending out a referral. I was just having conversations for like the first 4 months with people, military, veterans, or even active duty all over California, explaining them how to buy, which had led me to making a VA buyer's packet. Then I was in a couple Facebook groups with all military. I started pumping out my VA buyer's packet because now I'm educated. Like, there's no one that can stop me. I don't care if you say you're the number one VA lender. Sure. I know just as much as you. Mm-hmm. And I just roll with it, and it just so happened that it stuck. It was just where it's my background, it's who I am, it's who I relate to, it's who I'm comfortable with. And obviously, they are able to build trust with me in a faster manner because of who I am and what I did, and the information and the value I've given them. So that was it. It just started from there, and I never not worked with somebody because they weren't VA. So, but I've also never not denied a veteran that I would help them, and I've helped them in weird places like all the way in San Bernardino. But I know that they came to me because they believe in me. So I feel like I owe them that, to go up there and show them homes and understand that market. I don't just go up there to show a home. I understand that market. Do they have kids? Do they know the schools? What area is it in? And I take pride in knowing all that, even if it's San Bernardino or San Jacinto or out of my direct Temecula Murrieta area or Chula Vista, but clients in Chula Vista. It's if they came to me, they obviously trust me enough, and I feel like I owe that to them, no matter where they want to purchase, as long as it's within reasonable radius. I'll definitely help them out, and that's the way I did it. And before then, some of those clients, the distant ones, actually became the best. The best referral partners, the best, and they started shooting my name out. Then my name got shot out over here, and before you know it, you go on Kent Pendleton Resale with 60,000 members, and someone says they want to buy a house. I guarantee you see me 13 times more than any realtor in there. But it's because I provided that value up front with no expectation return. I gave them what they wanted for free.
Yep.
And now it's coming back full circle.
It kind of reminds me of the book Go Giver, right?
Yeah.
Where it's about giving. And when you give, genuinely, those seeds just always they come back to you. And it sounds like you've done a lot of that just in the real estate world, but then also with your clients and stuff like that. So that's huge.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is you have to go to it. We're taught at a very young age, of 17, 18, 19 years old, we're graduating from boot camp. And the last couple weeks before boot camp's over, they're telling you, avoid the people that market directly towards military. Avoid the auto dealerships that say military financing. Avoid the furniture stores that say 100% financing. They're scams. They're trying to get you. They're trying to hurt you. They're trying to hurt your money. They're not going to run your credit. They could take it out of DFAS, which is a defense account, before you even see it. Avoid these places. So a lot of real estate agents, they make the mistake, and even lenders are trying to market directly to military, saying, hey, military, but they haven't given anything to get. So my thing was give as much as I can, not expecting anything in return. The first year was slow. 15 transactions isn't that many.
Yeah. 4
of those were friends. The rest were from open houses, and maybe 1 or 2 towards the end were from the work I had put in the previous 9-10 months.
Right.
But everything I do was from contribution. It wasn't from the idea of getting something back. And it just paid off. People are like, oh, you're wasting your time. People told me, go pound sand, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. They'd question everything I say, but I had books in front of me. I had the knowledge on black and white. And there was nothing you could say because everything's black and white with VA. Not, oh, maybe you could do this. No, it's black and white. You just got to know how to get there.
Yeah.
So I've been challenged by so many real estate agents that say they're super military, and I just know what I'm talking about. And even now, I get questions all the time. People, hey, I got a VA offer. This is what's going on. How can I do it? And there's things about VA that probably agents who've been in the business 20 years don't know.
Yeah.
But I know, and I think that's why I'm able to do so well in that community. Not because I'm prior military, but because of how much I've given. I think I've built that rapport with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're not originally from California, though?
No. I grew up in New York.
You can't tell it all.
Yeah.
Is that where the mafia thing comes
You don't want to know it all.
It does, yeah.
I grew up in New York. I lived in Long Island for 18 years. At 18, I signed up for the military. I got stationed out here on Pendleton, and then.
Were you happy to come to California? Where you're like, woohoo?
No, I was hoping for the East Coast.
Really?
Until I actually came out here, and I was like, "What? No snow? Nice beaches? Cute women? This is way too easy." So that's just kind of how that worked. Yeah. And I bought a house in 2010 when the market was deathly ill. I bought it for $200,000, and
smart.
I just owned it, and I was getting $1,600 in BAH at the time. My payment on my house was $1,170, so I was stacking $500 a month. And I bought a house in Marietta. And that was it, and I never left. I was tied to that house. 2012 came along, and I decided after I EAS I was going to stay in California. And here we go, 2019, started a family, met my wife. I had a few girlfriends before that out here. I got 3 kids, a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 7-month-old, and a 13-year-old stepdaughter, which she's my daughter, but just for the record, she is not my blood daughter.
Sure.
But I treat her like one, and that's that. And I stood out here. I just made community ties, and there was no sense to go back to something I never liked anyway.
Yeah. That's one thing that's about this area is that it's very family friendly. We're up in Temecula, Murrieta Valley area. And for those who don't know, if you're watching a show from somewhere else, that's about an hour north of San Diego, hour east of Orange County, and an hour and a half that way to Los Angeles, whatever. But it's this beautiful valley. And, around San Diego and Orange County, homes start at, what, $500,000?
Yeah.
Whereas over here in this valley, a 45-minute commute, you can get a nice, $400,000 or $500,000 house, and it's a nice house.
In great school district.
Great school district, safe. It's like the second safest city for its size and stuff like that. So it's just fantastic.
They did some research on that. Yeah, that's the truth, and that's why leave. I grew up. My town was bad. I grew up. My schools were 4 out of 10s.
Wow.
3 out of 10s. Metal detectors, real police officers. It was never. It wasn't. It was normal to me.
Right.
So when people come out here and they tell me, "Oh my God, the school's a 7 out of 10," I laugh at them.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like, I have a master's degree. I went to a 3 out of 10 high school, got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. It's not about the high school.
Right.
It's about the person. They can go anywhere. But I understand where they're coming from. But I think the big thing is the person. It's all about who you are and how resilient you are really to get through it yourself. The school doesn't matter.
So that's a great topic because you obviously have gone through a lot of stories and challenges and all the victories of your life. Who is that in your life that influenced you? Was it a dad, an uncle, a neighbor? Like there's always that one person that kind of poured into somebody to help shape that character. What is it about you that did that?
I think what had helped me is not what they have done, not their success, but their failures. I think I'm very motivated by people's failures versus people's successes.
Right.
Because I feel like a lot of success is a facade, and it's just there, and we don't know how they got there. But if you fail, I could tell how you failed, and I could tell myself how not to do it. I think it's easier to tell how somebody failed than it is how they got success. Maybe their grandma died and they got $100,000 and now they're doing this, and they started this business. You don't know that. They're not going to tell you because they don't want you to know. But when they fail, you know exactly how they failed. So I guess the failures of my grandfather, working till forever and collecting Social Security, and going out with nothing, leaving nothing. My father had a great job, making like $110,000 a year at Con Edison. He had fallen at a football game, got injured, took disability, went out on disability, collected Social Security because he couldn't work anymore. So he doesn't really have nothing, So it's just trying to break that chain of everybody before me failing, or everyone before me not leaving anything, not having a legacy or not having somewhere to say, hey, this is what I did. This is how I did it. The fear of me be turning like them has motivated me to be nothing like them. So
that's a fantastic way to learn.
So I think that's where all my motivation is
I like that.
I want to be the opposite men who my grandfather and my father were.
Yeah. So you're 30 now, right?
Yes, sir.
And let's say in 40 years, what does that legacy of Jimmy Mocci look like?
Well, after doing really well in real estate last year, I realized that money is not the answer. So I thought I'd be really, really happy if I had a lot of money. But that lot of money took a lot of sacrifice. So the first person to get sacrificed is your family.
Right.
Because that time you work longer, you obviously lose more time with your family. So I'm not willing to make the amount of sacrifice it takes to bring real estate too much higher to another level.
Yeah.
To where I gotta be here more. I'm more or less looking at growing it a little bit wider to where I'm still in the business, but I'm able to bring more people on and teach them how to do real estate, so I could have 4 people doing what I do, making the same amount of money, versus me trying to get to that bigger number by myself.
Yeah.
So that we all have the sacrifice, but it's all evenly split to where no one's working 16-hour days. We're working 10-hour, 12-hour days, which is fine, and still getting, 4 to 6 hours after work to spend time with your family. So I think in 10 years, I'd like to have 3 or 4 solid agents that are working with me, not necessarily for me, and where I'm able to mentor them and guide them to success, and then repeat and recycle, because no one ever stays forever.
Right.
And just kind of do it that way. And by doing that, obviously my time's worth money, so I'll get paid to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll also be still growing my real estate business, because my growth's not going to stop. But there has to come a time where you know how much you're willing to sacrifice before you sacrifice it all.
Absolutely. And we've been in this business for many years, and we've seen people that do very well in real estate.
Yep.
But they burn so hot that they burn everybody around them, as a wise man named Steve Morris used to say, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And so the key in success when you get to a certain level is to start duplicating yourself. And it
Yep.
sounds like you're on that path, and so that's
that's
fantastic.
basically where we're at with it.
So I'm excited for you to find people who are going to work 10 to 12 hours a day with you in the real estate community.
I know.
Where are they?
I know. It's not about the hours you work, no matter what you do in those hours, right?
Yeah.
You can work 4 hours a day, and if you're really working 4 hours a day, you're going to do excellent in real estate.
Yeah.
But there's people who come work 12 hours a day, and they only really worked 15 minutes. The rest of the time they're socializing, and, that happens. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. We're young. We can make those mistakes now. But you got to see what's important. Some people love the office. Some people want to be in the office 16 hours a day. They hate their life at home, so they just want to work all day. Right?
Yeah.
Me, I look to get as much done in the shortest period of time so I can go home and spend time with my family.
Yeah.
I can go home and catch, I was coaching for my 13-year-old. She was 10 when I started. And go home and catch her. Go home and play sports with my kids. Spend time with my wife. So it's working smarter, not harder. And I don't hate my life at home. So, yes, I do schedule what I need done. And then once I'm done, I'm going home.
Yeah.
When I'm home, I still work. My wife understands that. But me at least being there is more important than me just sitting here doing nothing. I love my life at home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it. So that's why I schedule what I have to, and I go to work. Then I can go home, spend time with the family, then I work again. So I kind of have a different schedule than everybody else.
And having that life-work balance is key, because if you're too much on the work side, then you're going to burn everybody else out around you, kind of thing, or not have a family when you're done. You can have all the money in the bank in the world, kind of thing. Some of the best advice I ever got was a few years ago when I was on my rampage of I'm going to be top producer, I'm going to do all these kind of things. Was two pieces of advice. One is, if you're always chasing numbers never end, right? So, okay, I'm going to get $100,000 this year. Okay, now it's $200,000. Now it's $500,000. And like you're saying, to get to those levels, you have to make certain sacrifices. And oftentimes it starts with the family. But then another thing was, you can climb the ladder of success, but if you get to the top and you realize that the ladder is on the wrong building, then have you really succeeded?
Oh, that was good.
So that
was good.
That turned my ship going on to the other route. And,
that's
big.
That's spot on. I like that. And I just watched agents crumble.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to mention names, but I've watched agents' families crumble over real estate. Over what? A couple $100,000?
Right.
I'd be dead. Like, if my kids and wife left me, I wouldn't do real estate no more. Because the amount of effort it takes to sell real estate and be good at it and provide your clients with 100% service all the time is excruciating. That's painful, and my family feels that pain when I'm constantly on the go or I'm constantly working. So I think it's important, if anything, family first.
Yep.
Always focus on what you're doing, what I do. My why is my family, giving them a better life than I had when I was growing up, right? We spoke about that. So everything I do is fuel for them.
Yeah.
But how much fuel do they really need? Do I need to work every single Sunday for the next 52 weeks? No. I need to spend time with them. I need to help them grow. I need to help my kids grow.
Yeah.
Not be at work all the time. And it's not a numbers game. I was chasing numbers 2 years ago, and I remember Robert Fanzo, he said to me, what is that number? What does that number do for you? He's like, I think my number was like 275,000. And he's like, what does that number do for you? What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a number. It's a goal. This is where did you come up with that number? Do you need that number because you need to put $100,000 away in your savings because you want to do this next year? Like, where's that number coming from? You can't just throw a number out there. It's stupid. You'll be chasing numbers forever, just like you said.
It never
He's
ends.
like, put a number out there that you realistically can live off of, you're comfortable with, and it's not going to require you to go in the red with your friends or family and going to green with work. It's like a check and balance system, right? You want to have your friends. One, you want to always keep them in the green. You want to have your family in the green. You want to have your work in the green. If one of them gets too low, you got to go back to it and figure out how you're going to get it from the red to the green.
Yep.
Keep everything in a checks and balance system across the board. And that's how I got where I'm at, because I know how to balance it. I understand.
Very wise man.
Yeah.
Very wise.
For 30.
Sometimes.
I know.
Sometimes.
Oh my gosh, I think I learned that last year.
I still make mistakes,
Yeah.
though.
Well, I
I
think
still
they-
make mistakes.
The key to his wisdom is learning from other people's failures, because there's a lot of failure in the world. And so I thought that was brilliant when you said that earlier, because there's so many success coaches, and they have the shiny car, and it's all this image, and it's all that kind of fake stuff, right? Like, oh, look, I'm so famous, and I got a private jet and all this kind of stuff. But it's when you learn about people when they've crumbled and broken, and then how they rebuilt themselves. I love those kind of stories too.
Yeah.
But
I want to know how you failed. Like, that's so important.
Yeah.
How even failed? How did you not get your offer accepted? Oh, because you put this in there? Okay, well, I'm not going to do that next time.
Yeah.
That's I don't love people failing, but I love learning from their failures.
Yeah.
Inky Johnson, he's a motivational guy I listen to, and he never really failed. He just had a run of bad luck, but he's still 100% doing everything he loves to do, and he's super motivational to me. So I listen to him whenever I feel like motivation goes down. He tells you how to bounce back from failure. Failure is not the end of the road. Failure is just a learning lesson for you to get back on your feet and do it the next time.
That's awesome.
I know, he's so smart.
So I love Inky, man. Inky Johnson.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out. He don't care for me, but I care for him. So yeah, that's what this was about. And I kind of during the interview I realized that I learn more from people's failures than I do from their wins.
That's awesome.
Does that sound bad?
No, I think that's a great way to learn, because like I said, there's a lot of failure out there, but so many people don't learn from failure because they're too busy chasing the shiny object, or that guy has the the Rolls Royce, so I want to be like him kind of thing. It's like, well, why?
Yeah, and the popular clicks, and it's just like none of that matters to me. It doesn't bother me. I want to know how you failed, why you failed, and how you got back, because that's a big lesson too. Did you ever see somebody who had done maybe 10 deals, 15, 30 deals, and all of a sudden the next year they did 15? What happened? I'm very interested in that process. I love the process. So how did you go from 13 to 15? What happened there? Maybe they got ill, but what did they not do? So I know to make sure I keep doing that, because obviously that was a huge artery in their business to drop 50%. How can I maintain where I'm at? That's the biggest thing. Watch for failures, figure out how they fail, figure out how not to do it, and then figure out how to maintain across the board, because consistency is key. You can't do 500 one year, do 100 the next year. That's not cool. You want to do 400 every year for the next 20 years?
That sounds pretty good.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'd like to do 400 for the next 20 years, and I could retire easily.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're pretty good with your money. We were
old.
talking earlier, and you definitely have some money.
Try to
moves
be.
in the
I do like
route.
some of the gold and shiny objects.
Yeah. I ain't
We
mad
got
at
a
you.
boat. My wife wants to move every
That's
week
right.
to a new house.
That's hard about being in this business. You see all these wonderful houses.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I could live there.
She's like, "Oh, can you go look at this house for me?" And I'm like, "No, we can't afford it." She's like, "We can afford it." I'm like, "No, we can't. Like, we don't need to move again."
She's like, I bet Renee could afford it.
Yeah.
Oh.
She went to one of Renee's little get-togethers at her house. She did like a wine and chop thing. She went there, spent $500 on clothes, which I don't care. If she needs clothes, we're going to Cabo. But now she's infatuated with her neighborhood. So now she's looking up foreclosures and pre-foreclosures on that street because she wants to move into that neighborhood. So she's sending me all day, look at this one, go knock on this one, go knock on this one. And before she was just in West Marietta. She wanted me to move to West Marietta. So she likes it. She understands. She's not a big spender. And that's the other thing, the support at home is huge.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about kind of the wife's part is she supports my business. She holds it down. Like, she's got 3 kids under 3 for the past 3 years, right?
It's tough.
That I've been working my butt off building this business, building my brand, building who I am as a person. and she's been at home taking care of those kids, you know. So it's like you gotta have that in check as well. You know, if your wife's not happy and you're coming home to an unhappy wife, the next day at work, you're not gonna be successful. If I argue with my wife, which I do, we argue once in a while. If I argue that morning before work, my day's done.
Yeah.
I literally have to come to work, realize how bad that day's gonna suck. Then I gotta go home. That's an hour, right? I gotta go apologize to my wife, ice it over, maybe buy her flowers, buy her something nice. Then I gotta come back to work. I just wasted a whole day.
Yeah.
Right? So having that at home in checks and balance is huge too. Having your wife on board and understand these are my goals. This is what it's gonna take to get there. Do you have any objections? Like, do you not want to drive a nice car? I won't go to work.
Do you guys actually communicate that to one another? Say, hey, here's the goal that I see, and then you guys chop it up and like, hey, this is how we're gonna make that?
No.
Or is it just kind of this intuitive thing that you guys
No,
have
I
back
just
and
take
forth?
the reins, and she's been with me for 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
and those 6 years haven't all been peaches and roses, you know. So she knows that I'm able to get through the mud. So she trusts the decisions I make are the best decisions for us.
Mm-hmm.
She makes the decisions at home. If it has to do with our kids, that's a shared decision. But like as far as business decisions go, I share with her what I did, not what I'm going to do.
Sure.
Because I know that she trusts that I make the right decision because I got us through the mud. You know, I got us through some bad times, and she knows I can continue doing it. So I don't.
Is she Irish?
She's Asian.
Oh. Well, I was gonna say
Close.
Well, I've heard that Italians and Irishes they have very fiery marriages. You know?
Yeah, she's not very fiery. She's very she's like
She balances you out.
passive aggressive. Like she's cool most of the time.
Where's my underwear?
Yeah, exactly.
She hides your stuff.
Where it's like she's great. She just does a lot with the kids. So I expect sometimes I push her a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you come home, you have a bad day. You know, you're as an agent, you're absorbing everyone else's nonsense. Then I go home, and my clients are like, my wife's a freaking biatch and da da da. And then I go home and I'm like, my head's still pounding, and then she starts chirping in my ear, yelling at me about something I did in the morning. I forgot to put my underwear in the laundry hamper, you know, and then we kind of get an argument, you know. So it's like we've developed like a great routine that when I come home, like the first 30 minutes, I just come home, I hang out with the kids. She doesn't ask me a million questions, and then once I get home, I get changed. I usually come back downstairs. Then we all hang out and we talk. How was your day? And and then sports usually takes place. And so we've learned. We've had a lot of growing pains, a lot of blowouts at the house. You know, arguing and fighting about you're working too much. You don't spend time with your kids. You know, and it's the truth. I was, and now I'd learned how to time block out those times. So she's been supportive for the most part, and I don't really ask for her permission in my business.
Mm-hmm.
So she's good with it because she knows that I kind of know what I'm doing.
There's that level of trust, and that's important. Yeah.
I like when he brings the kids to the office because they're allowed to come play.
Does
there.
she spoil her kids?
No, no,
Yeah.
no, I
Spoils
don't.
it.
Yeah, she's
Spoils
a spoiler.
everyone's kids, doesn't she?
I like kids.
Yes, you do.
They're our future, the world's future.
I had my kids stay the night with Susan a couple years back, and then I go to pick them up the next morning, and she had taken them to Toys R Us and pretty much gave them like her credit card. Said, "All right, guys, go at it." And so I was like, "Oh, thanks, Susan. I appreciate that." And then later on, they tell me, "Yeah, we didn't go to bed till like 4 in the morning." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Susan."
We made a tent.
I think
There's video
we ate
games.
chocolate all night.
It was
I
we
think
weren't
I ran
tired
into
yet.
your kids
Yes.
with Susan at a movie theater. My wife wanted to go see
Yes.
Aquaman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Susan was like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Whoa, you got kids?" I was like,
I got John's kids.
They're Butler's kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, all right, I fell asleep the whole movie.
Yeah.
so.
But my
Fell
kids adore
asleep.
you, and I think all kids adore you because you just have that. Oh my God! You're just so
'Cause
excitable.
I've never grown up.
Yeah. You have a heart
She's
of-
full of energy all the time. Like that's what we
No.
need to find out is how you are so full of energy all the time at any given moment. You're just there, you know?
At home, I'm quiet.
Really?
I get all my 20,000 words out during the day. But I think there's a part that is also the job, right? And if we're going to come here and do this together, then it's game on.
It is.
And it's game on and
The
it's
second
showtime
you
the
break
whole
that point.
time. Yeah.
It's game time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm okay with that. Because it's funner.
It is. It is more fun
Yeah.
being exciting, you know? 'Cause
Yeah.
You may get cooped up in that office. You get beat up by your seller because his house is sitting. and you come out and you see Susan and she's just bubbly and energetic, and you're like, life's not that bad. And you go back to there and
because as agents, I think you're like me, where you take it personally when your client's not happy, right? And so we could take it so personally, but then you talk to Susan about it, and Susan's like, "Oh yeah, they're just being grumpy, huh?" You're like, "I guess they're just being grumpy." Yeah.
Like, give them a day.
Just put it in perspective.
Give them a day, give them a call, say this, and that's probably what it is. And nine times out of 10, she hits it spot on.
Yep.
And it's like, it's not that bad. Nothing in real estate's an emergency.
Yep.
Calm down, let them cool off, and then hit them up tomorrow, and make things right. That's the biggest thing, is don't hold grudges, make things right, call other people, and
Yeah.
Susan has forced me to grow up as an adult, not just a real estate agent, and realize when I do something wrong or when wrong's done to me, on how to handle it and not fly off the handle, and it's definitely humbled me a bit. So I could thank Susan for that.
Aww.
My lovely Susan.
With 170 agents or so in this brokerage, you really do have an incredible impact, because that ripples out through their lives, through their clients' lives, through their families' lives, and stuff like that. So you are a dynamic human being. I know you're humble about it, but you're the mama bear for all of us here at Signature Realty. So
I'll be Mama
yeah,
Bear.
you're good at it.
She's really good at it.
Really good.
And people say it, but it's like, we're not joking. Like,
Yeah.
we talk about it when Susan's not around,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how she's the real deal, is because when she's not around, we're not being like, man, I can't stand her.
Right.
I wish the new broker would come in. You're like, she's freaking awesome. Like, anytime, any day, any place, you need to get a hold of her.
Yeah.
You're going to get a hold of her. She's going to make it right.
Yep.
She's going to make
Thank
it
God.
right. And that's the conversation. It's not a paid advertisement. It's the truth. Is that when I know I'm in a situation, or I know I might need some help, like, I know that once I make it to Susan,
Yeah.
and I exhaust everything else, because I usually like to ask around
Yep.
a little bit, because
Mhm.
once you come to Susan, whatever she says is it.
Yeah.
What she says, you're gonna do,
Yep.
because you've reached the last line. So I've asked around, I get a few little opinions, and I'm like, nah. Then you go to Susan, like, this is what you need to do, this is what needs to be said, this is how you handle it. Then you just do it, because it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the right way to do it. She's not gonna give bad advice.
She's
And-
very wise counsel.
Very wise counsel.
Because
I like
I'm
that.
old.
Yeah.
I
You've been
have
around.
many years.
Yeah, you made a lot of bad choices, so you know how to
That's
get
why I
out of
always
those,
say,
huh?
make good choices.
Well, and I don't know about you, but you won a few awards today,
Yes.
and then also last year, one of the top agents, stuff like that. And I know you're 30, you're a grown man, and you're Italian, you're from New York, but be honest, there's still that 4 or 5-year-old boy inside that loves getting certificates and awards, right? Because when I was over at Exit with you, I won all the trophies and stuff like that. I don't care about the money. I cared more about the trophies. You know what I mean? She calls
Give
you
me
up
a
on stage,
prize.
and it's like being in preschool. Like, we got the gold star for you. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I love it. I'm not gonna be humble about it. I do love it, and
Yeah.
I've been getting awards since my second full quarter in real estate. I've been getting awards, so I've grown accustomed to it.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate it, because it's, you get your recognition, but the big thing is like, I could win this award, but am I winning the war with myself?
Right.
Because let's say I made X amount of dollars. Let's just throw that number out there and say my goal for the month was $40,000 in gross commission, right?
Right.
And I did 35. Well, am I happy about the award because I beat some other agents? Sure.
Renee.
But Renee Keeling, number 2. But am I more upset that I didn't reach my goal? You
Yeah.
know, and that's kind of way. Like, I appreciate the awards. I love them. They motivate me. But it's also yesterday's awards.
Yeah.
You're not getting awards because Susan could see into the future.
Yeah.
You're getting awards because she's seen what you did the last 30 days. So can you repeat that? Consistency. I don't care about the people who win an award once a year.
Yeah.
I care about the people that could win it 7 out of 12 months, 8 out of 12 months, and stay consistent and do it for 10 out of 11 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's the consistency that does it for me. If I win top producer 4 months in a row, then I'm starting to feel real good about myself. But if I do it for 1 month and get beat 4 other months, you were just the top producer for those 30 days.
Just had a good run for 30 days. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you got to be consistent.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I've won quite a few awards, and I'm not humble about it. I love them. I decorate them. I freaking put them up. I got awards from 2016 to 2018, and I love them. They're just a symbol of people. People get crazy and they start throwing out their old awards, and they say, "Oh, this is a new year." I get it. It's a new year, but it brings me back. It shows me I need to remain consistent. My awards from previous years don't tell me how great I am today. They tell me how great I need to be in these next 12 months to maintain my stat quo of winning all of these awards. Because you can't win them for 2 years and then not win them for 8. You got to just keep winning or you're a loser, right? You're either winning or you're losing. And I don't want to lose. So I'm just going to keep maintaining the winning. And then in 10 years, when I have a top producer for 10 years in a row, then I could brag about it and say, hey, I'm a 10-year top producer, not a 2-year top producer. You know, I was at last little sip it. I was at Berkshire Hathaway in 2016, and I won agent of the year. I won like 4 awards, beat everybody. There was 13 people, great people over there, and everybody was chattering. All these agents that didn't know me with other brokers. Oh, you only have 10 full-time agents over there. You know, you're only doing number 1 because you're over there, and it hurt me. I was like, what does it matter where I am? You know, number 1 in my full first year in real estate. Then my second year in real estate, I won the first 3 quarters before I came to Signature. Everybody said, oh, there's only 17 agents over there. Now I came to Signature. It's 180 agents, right? And I was number 1 solo agent, and I was number 2 out of all the agents, including the teams, right? So it's like, what else? You know, remaining consistent. It doesn't matter where you are. You just need to remain consistent, because then you could talk. Then you could tell your client you're a top producer. You can't tell them because you won July's award you're a top producer. You just had a good month. It's okay to have a good month, but I could tell someone I've been consistently a top producer for the last 3 years. You know?
Is that why you do the awards?
Because it makes them happy? I love giving awards.
You do?
I really do, because I think that the recognition and the acknowledgement of what they've achieved, that it's deserved. You know, but if you're not first, you're last. No.
Well, I think this morning you're
and
saying
number
the top
3.
3. Number 3, the second loser.
Well, it makes it fun. That's just silliness. I mean, it's not how I feel, but it's fun to razz. I always say razz the kids like that.
It's fun. They all get riled up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we get
It's funny
riled
because
up.
you can see when the meetings get out, everyone's like, they rush to their phones or whatever, offices, they slam the door and they're calling people and they're on it, you know?
It's a little bit of motivation.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's that motivation. It's like, okay. And a lot of, like Renee, I know she has the same. She doesn't want to win 1 month. She wants to be consistent. And that's what these agents want to do. Like Stone, you know, he is consistent. He's consistently in the top 3. You know, that's super important. You got Stone, you got Adam Nelson, you know, Adam Schwartz. You know, they're consistent. These guys are consistently Sean McCann, you know, the McCann Homes team. They're consistently in the top 3. That's where it's at, is being consistent. If you're a consistent 3rd, that's cool. But you can't have good, have bad. In the solo agents, I'm behind right now. You know, I'm behind on my numbers for the year. But I'm in the green with my family, which is great. So I don't care because I made great money last year. But this year, it's more about that balance. It's more about staying consistent. Now I know, okay, well, I'm already down 2 months. I'm not going to win March, but I'm going to win April. That I know for sure. So I know from April, I have 8 months to remain consistent. April through December, I'm going to win every possible award I can because I need to stay consistent.
That's awesome.
What do you do for fun? Because I love watching videos and stuff when you guys are out with other people in the office and you're like golfing and stuff.
Yeah, we golf. We have a office hallway, you know, me, Joe Hall, Sean McCann. We're all super close. You know, our wives are super close. Our families are close. We all got kids, and we each like to do things together. So we golf pretty often together. I fish. I used to fish very often. Last year, I haven't fished since December because I've been just cold. I'm not going to lie. My boat's fine, but I'm cold, and it's been freezing out. So
It's been raining a lot.
waking up at 4:30, hit the water at 5:30, it'd be ice cold all day. It's just not for me. So I put that to the burner. I love coaching. I love coaching softball. I haven't done it in the past year just because of how busy I've been. It would be just about impossible to tie up every weekend on the softball field.
Sure.
Couldn't do that to my clients, but I do coach Eden privately on the field on days she doesn't have practice. On days she has practice, I take her to her pitching lessons. I try to improve her pitching because she wants to go, Division I. She wants to be a big softball player. She just needs to keep practicing. So I try to help her there and do everything I can. So that's one of my hobbies is figuring out how to make her a better pitcher. I'm starting to try to do some video because scouts are really looking online now. They have websites that they go on. So I'm trying to get in like some GoPro videos and stuff. So that's my hobby. And then playing video games. I know it sounds like probably a loser, but I'm a big Xbox One guy.
You are?
Yeah.
What's your favorite game? Do you ever play with my kids?
No. My favorite game is probably Rainbow Six Siege. Would probably be my number one game. I don't play it that often anymore. But Fortnite, I've been playing Fortnite for like 8 months. I got over a year now.
Are you the Jimmy that's yelling at my kids?
I'm the guy that's killing 10-year-olds. Hey, there's a group of us. There's like a bunch of 30-year-olds. Guys, I was with the Marine Corps. We get on there. It's a good place to like take a break from life. You get on there, you get your headset on, you're with your boys, you're having fun, you're having a good time. I put Fortnite down this past month or two, but I'm getting into the Division 2, so I think it's a great way. Some people, they work all day, they like to have a drink.
Right.
They work all day, they like to have a smoke.
Yep.
They work all day, they go on a long run. I'm not running. I don't smoke, and I don't drink.
Yeah.
I'll have a drink or two, but I won't drink on a weekday with nothing going on, so I play video games.
Mm-hmm.
That's my drug, is video games, When I'm done with the family, I'm done with dinner, and I have some downtime, I'm going to spend a little time with my friends on the video game.
So, do you have the whole headset?
I got the headset.
And the screen's, right in front of you?
I got the headset. The screen's not in front of me. I got a big 65-inch TV.
Oh, you do it on the TV?
Yeah, I watch it. I don't do it on... I do it on an Xbox, so it's on a TV. That's me and my daughter.
Oh.
I have 2 headsets, and she wears one, so she sits there.
She looks like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, she sits there next to me with a controller
or Princess
and
Leia.
plays.
Oh.
Can we see this? I don't know. That's probably not going to show up, huh?
Yeah.
Can you see it? It's a little blurry. We both got our headsets on, and that's their downtime. They like coming in there, and they enjoy watching, and they play with their iPads, and they get about 35, 40 minutes in there with me where they're just hanging out, and they enjoy watching it. They enjoy listening, and, so it's just a little bit of downtime. I don't drink, so I play video games. And people are like, oh, you play video games? I'm like, I've been playing video games when Gears of War came out in 2003 in 9th grade when video gaming started coming out, Xbox Live and stuff. We were in one of the biggest clans in Xbox, playing Gears of War, and it just kind of trickled from there. Mm-hmm. Gears of War to Call of Duty for probably a good 7-year stretch, and then, Rainbow Six.
That's committed.
It's the way it is.
I have no idea what these names are.
I know all of them.
Do you?
Yes, because
when I was single and you're in the barracks in the Marine Corps, what do? You can only drink so much. You can only party so much. It's like, well, I hang out and play video games in my barracks room. So, there's days where I spent 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, 12 hours on a video game, playing with my friends back at home.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it keeps you connected.
It is a sense of community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about the game. It's about the community. All my military guys are on there. We all play together. I don't talk to these guys much, but I talk to them on there. I know how their families are doing. I know what they're doing, and we connect on there. You spend 4 hours on a mic with somebody, you're going to learn about them pretty quick.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, that's what I do.
Right on.
I didn't know that. I like it.
I know. No one really knows it, huh? No one really knows it. No one knows it because no one comes over late at night when I'm playing a video game.
Yeah, but you don't want them to, do you?
No, I don't. No. I don't want company. They're too loud.
Hey, at least it's not your mom's basement. So
there you go. It's in my beautiful house,
yeah.
in my game
that
room.
You've earned and worked for.
In my game room.
I'm mad at you.
That's awesome.
Well, I think it's been a great show. You're an amazing realtor. You're an amazing husband and father. You're a leader in this community. It's a powerful thing that you are. That is Jimmy Mocci. Jimmy the Mafia Mocci, as Susan calls it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate being on here. Yeah, you guys are cool, man. This is like, it's kind of funny that we all just sit here and just kind of bounce things off each other. And I never knew that people would actually care to want to know about me. So it's nice to know that somebody cares, you know, that maybe someone's going to listen to this and it's going to change their life. 10 years ago, nobody cared about what I had to say.
You never know where these
actually,
videos are going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to help, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I appreciate the opportunity, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for being in the spotlight at Signature Studios with Susan Ebert, John Butler, the ball guy in the red tie, Jimmy Mocci, saying thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.